everybody. We're back again to talk some more college football. We are down to the last 2 new weeks, the last 3 weeks, and then some conference championships, and then some bowl games, some playoff games. We're down. I'm already missing it, and it ain't over yet. Well, what we do, we cover the top 15 ranked teams, talk about the games we just had, throw a little dumpster fire there in the middle. There's always a good dumpster fire burning in football. And then we'll give our predictions for the upcoming week. We have to recap Week 11 and then give our predictions for Week 12. Let's go ahead and jump into Week 11. We had a Friday night top 15 ranked game. We had Colorado at number 8, USC.
USC is a big player later on in the playoff bracket.
USC has only one loss, and they have a chance to win the Pac-12. And if they win the Pac-12 and they win out, I honestly think they will probably make the playoffs. But that's something to see because there's a lot of tough games coming. But they took care of Colorado.
But Colorado, they're starting running back.
Bad. Which is a big blow. But we'll see coming up. They took care of Colorado. They beat them by 38. So that was a nice, healthy game. Saturday, we had Missouri at number 5.
Tennessee needs to play for style points here.
Tennessee need the point, your point difference of win, your the strength of your win, all of that. The pretty points count at this time of the year.
And Tennessee did mash Missouri, especially in the second half.
Missouri's 13th ranked defense in the country, and Tennessee put up 60.
Smashed.
So Tennessee put up 66 on them. And the last score was late, but they had their backups in, and they wanted to back up to get some reps, and They needed to win by as many points as possible. That's style points. I hate it, but the Missouri head coach was completely fine with it. He understood what was happening. He said, it's our job to stop them. That ain't no big deal. Yep. So I think it was awesome. They won they were favored by 21 at the beginning, dropped down to 19 at the end. People were betting Missouri because they have the 13th ranked defense. People took Missouri in the points, and then Tennessee won by 38.
Power T.
or actually 42. They won by 42.
Man,
so they doubled the original line of 21. So
jeez.
Tennessee did what they needed to do.
That offense is really good, ain't it?
It's
got another reminder.
And then the second we had Indiana at Ohio State. Indiana with the worst defense in the Big Ten.
Got exposed.
That is such a powerhouse of a conference. Anyways, Ohio State won. They won by 42 also.
And Tennessee scored 66-24, and Ohio State scored
56-14. Yeah.
You just take away, that's just 10 points off, and they're both win by 42.
But Tennessee's was against the 13th ranked defense in the country, and Ohio State's was against the worst defense in the Big Ten. And that's saying something. But does that get counted in? I don't know. I don't want to get into politics. But it is what it is. We had number 7, LSU at Arkansas.
LSU won by defense.
LSU was a little snake bit against Arkansas lately. Arkansas had their number, beat them a few times. And I've got friends that are LSU fans, and they were saying, we're a little afraid of this because going into Arkansas, they beat us up a lot there. And they almost did beat them up a little bit, but Arkansas did what they needed to do.
LSU, Harold Perkins got a monster game. 4 sacks and 2 stripped fumbles to help one of them to help seal the win at the end.
That looked like the old school LSU defense, didn't it?
Yep.
I mean, just
only 10 points.
Clamp down that thing. Arkansas only scoring 10 points. Arkansas's in a little bit of a trouble right now. I know they got some players that are unhappy and stuff. I don't know that may be imploding a little bit there on them. I really don't know what's going on at Arkansas. To be as good as they were last year to as bad as they are now, something is rotten in Denmark. I don't know. I don't know what it is yet. We had Nebraska. Again, the powerhouse that the Big Ten is, Nebraska, going to Michigan, and Michigan beat them 34-3. Nebraska fired their head coach halfway through the season because they are so bad. and we still beat the number 13th defense by 11 more points than what Michigan beat Nebraska by. I was actually looking at the records, but let's get through this game first. And then after this, we'll talk a little bit about it. But the playoff record it will open your eyes. We had number 9 Alabama at number 11 Ole Miss. Alabama. Oh, look, a ranked team, a ranked matchup in the SEC. What a surprise. Alabama
did what they needed to do late.
Now, you knew that Alabama wasn't going to lose 2 in a row. Alabama has lost 2 games on the last play of the game. They're not going away, people.
Yeah,
they're not bad. They're not going away. They're not done. They lost 2 games on the very last play of the game, on a field goal and a 2-point conversion, or they would be undefeated right now.
Yep. And
we'd be saying, man, Alabama's still Alabama. They're still Alabama.
They're still Alabama, but they just got tougher competition.
They just got tougher competition right now, yeah. But they took care of Ole Miss 30-2, 24. We had Louisville at Clemson. Clemson won 31-16. Good.
Clemson is up in the air right now.
It was a good bounce back game after getting hammered by Notre Dame the week before, though. They needed that win. They only won by 15, but they needed that win. Louisville wasn't a bad team. Louisville's got 6 wins. They're already bowl eligible, so that wasn't a bad game, but Clemson needed that really, really bad. We had Maryland at Penn State, another powerhouse that Maryland is.
0 points.
0 points against Penn State. Goose egg.
Big game, James.
So we have Indiana, that's 1-5 in their conference. Nebraska, who is hapless, and Maryland, who can't score a point against Penn State. That's the competition in the Big Ten.
Big game, James.
Michigan and Ohio State, which are ranked number 2 and number 3 right now, their strength of schedule is 60th and 84th out of 132 teams. That's the strength of schedule that the number 2 and the number 3 teams have in the country. If they played anything anywhere near what the ACC or the Pac-12, they're the weakest conference in the country this year, but they have 2 of the top teams, and the only teams they've beat is Penn State. And Penn State, who's Penn State? They ain't beat anybody either. I don't know. I'm struggling on how they're raising those teams and the players in that conference up so high when they have 0 competition except for those 2 teams.
It's pretty much a boat race to see whoever those 2 meet in the conference championship.
I would put TCU higher than both of those teams, to be honest.
TCU's
tougher
schedule.
Tougher schedule. I would put USC. I think USC would probably beat either one of those 2 teams. USC's played tougher. Clemson has played a tougher schedule than Ohio State or Michigan has. I don't understand. I'm really, really looking forward to the 10-12 team playoffs, because the real competition is going to get in and play. We're not going to have favorites anymore. Honestly, I think Ohio State and Michigan are favorites. They're media darlings. They're media favorites. I don't think they're the number 2 and number 3 team in the country. And next year, when number 2 has to play number 8, if it's a 10 team playoff, number 8 might beat number 2, because number 2 really ain't as good as they are put up to be. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing all that. But I'll get off my rant now. We had number 1 Georgia at Mississippi State 45-19.
Georgia is the rightful number 1.
They are number 1. Their defense is good all the time, period. They don't give up more than 20 points. They just don't.
That's the old formula that Nick Saban had, right?
And their offense is good when it needs to be. And that's
the formula.
This is the old Nick Saban Alabama team.
That Kirby Smart has
duplicated it. Mm-hmm. Mississippi State's a bag. You don't know which one you're going to get either.
Yep.
We got Washington at Oregon, the upset of the week.
That's going to kill their playoff chances. Oregon's done.
Oregon could have been in the playoffs, but now after losing to Washington, Washington's a good team. Washington's a ranked team. But losing to them 37-34
at home
has
when
taken
you went
Oregon.
for it on your own side of the field and lost to a game-winning field goal.
Yep. That's they were a little too much and paid for it there in the end. Now, again, if USC wins out, they'll probably end up having to play Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. And if USC can beat Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game, then USC, I think, goes to the playoffs because they've got a conference championship, only one loss, and some really good wins going down the stretch. So USC, I think USC's got their playoff hands in their playoff hopes in their own hands. We had number 4 TCU at Texas.
Speaking of the Frogs being a big player in the playoff race,
Texas was favored by 7, and honestly, I thought Texas might hand them a little bit more. But TCU found a defense. Where'd that defense come from?
They look like the '85 Bears.
They look, yeah. They stopped Texas at home to 10 points. This is the Big 12. This should be 44-40.
But nope, trump card.
17-10, TCU. And again, TCU, I think, is in the same boat. I think if TCU wins out, they're in the playoffs.
Singly.
So we're probably going to have Georgia, Ohio State, or Michigan, number 2, TCU, number 3, USC, number 4. Right now, if everybody wins out, I think that's your top 4 playoffs. I think Tennessee will be on the outside looking in at number 5, unless TCU or USC loses going down the stretch here. I think that's your top 4. We got North Carolina beating Wake Forest at Wake Forest 36-34.
Drake May, their quarterback, has some really underrated stats.
He's been under the radar a little bit. He's been really, really good.
He has 34 touchdowns to just 3 picks.
3 picks. That sounds like Hendon Hooker. No, we need to talk about somebody else besides those 2 quarterbacks. Anyways, North Carolina has a chance to win out and be maybe the number 5 or number 6 team going into, if they win out and they win
the ACC championship
game,
which they will go to.
It's going to get interesting here at the end of the season, people.
Spice it up.
We had Stanford at Utah. Stanford is horrible. Utah's not, 42-7. That was a butt kicking.
Do you want me to tell you one stat that I pointed out
What's that?
During the game when I watched it? Stanford's whole offense was outgained by Utah's running back. Stanford's whole offense, their entire offense, was outgained by 1 player.
That tells you how bad Stanford's is. You know, their tree even got suspended.
He got arrested.
He got arrested. So. Yeah, okay. We had Arizona at UCLA, the other one-loss team.
Suddenly, Chip Kelly doesn't have those good flavored chips anymore.
Nope, they lost to Arizona 34-28, so that takes UCLA out of the playoffs also. All right, that is our recap of Week 11. Now we have to talk about our Dumpster Fire
of the Week. Dumpster Fire of the Week.
Yeah. And the Dumpster Fire is?
Kentucky,
man.
It's not because of this.
No, it's not because of this.
It's because of how they played.
It's because they were number 8, number 9, ranked as high, I think, as number 7 this year. Got one of the highest ranked quarterbacks, and they
NFL draft, and they just play like garbage.
Yeah, I did have one of my friends who's a Kentucky fan point out today though that it's a brand new offensive coordinator this year.
Yep, that's a brand new offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm. I had forgot that they'd got a brand new offensive coordinator.
And the offensive coordinator is not good.
Because their offensive coordinator was from the Rams, and he went back to the Rams. And now they got a new guy in, and he's
not good.
Maybe not good. Because
he's not good.
They've got more talent this year than they had last year. And
suddenly the offensive line can't block.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, Will Levis is getting sacked over and over and over.
Over and over and over. When your quarterback comes out at the end of the game and says, maybe we'll get up for a game one of these days, calling out the entire team.
And not only the icing on top of this cake, though, was last Saturday.
When you lose to Vanderbilt. Not in basketball, not in baseball.
But in football.
When you lose to Vanderbilt. Especially when Vanderbilt had like 3 wins the entire year.
But hey,
and they probably won't win another one.
But hey, props to the Commodores in this game.
Props to them, man.
Because
props
they got
to
their
them.
first SEC win since 2019.
And now they have 4 wins, and that'll be all they get. They'll be 4-8. But
that's better than last year. They were a 1-11 last year.
A 3-win
improvement.
Maybe next year they're 7-5. That ain't going to happen. Vanderbilt ain't going to get 7 wins. But you never know.
But Kentucky, this year they were 4-1 at this point.
They went from 4-1 to 6-4.
They were 2-3.
They're 2-3
in their last 5 games.
They're 2-3 down the stretch, and 2 of those were South Carolina and Vandy losses. Both of those were at home.
At home.
You lose
Vanderbilt at home.
You lose to South Carolina at home, and then Vanderbilt at home. The South Carolina quarterback has more interceptions than touchdowns, and Vanderbilt is Vanderbilt. That tells you, I mean, the offensive coordinator is
terrible. They should fire him after the game.
They need to do something.
Mark Stoops needs to reevaluate his whole coaching staff.
He does, yeah, because he's a good coach. He is a good coach. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our Week 12 predictions. We'll start off Saturday. We'll go ahead and do Tennessee first since it's our favorite team. They got a 7 o'clock game, but we'll go ahead and jump on in first. Tennessee's favored by 21.5
against South Carolina.
The line last week started out at 21. They won by 42. I'm going to take 21. I'm going to take Tennessee minus 21.5.
Carolina?
Even at South Carolina.
With all the chicken crows going
I
on
think
there.
they'd win 54-20. I think they win by 30 plus points. Yeah, I do. Because, again, their defense is not fantastic. They give up quite a bit of yards.
Running the ball.
Yeah, and Tennessee, as much passing as Tennessee does, Tennessee's a run-first team. They run more times than they pass.
And once Heupel gets a sniff of the bad run defense.
Oh, he'll run that ball. And really another one I like is the freshman running back that came up for Tennessee last week.
Samson.
He was Samson. He was mighty. I mean, he was running everywhere. Fast, speed, quick. I mean, when you bring out 3 running backs now, they're going to be fresh. There's not going to be any in the fourth quarter. There's not going to be any tired legs on that running. Yep. It's going to be nasty. So we'll take Tennessee minus 21.5 there. We got Illinois at Michigan.
Illinois is not a bad team.
They're 7-3. But that's honestly 7-3 is as good as it gets when you got competition in the Big Ten. You got, I mean, besides Michigan and Ohio State, 7-3 is it. So, Michigan's favored by 18.
I might take Michigan in that amount.
I would probably take Michigan by 18. Yeah.
Bigger game, Jim
Harbaugh. I honestly think Michigan still may be the better of the 2 teams. Ohio State
will decide it on the field this year.
Ohio State may have the better quarterback, but I think Michigan may have the better team. But we will find that out later. We got TCU at Baylor. TCU is favored by 2.5.
I'd take that by more.
I think TCU hangs on and beats Baylor.
They're a really good team. They find ways to win football games.
They will find a way. And that's just a field goal. So if they win 13-10, last week they won 17. They win 13-10, then you've covered that 2.5 points there. We got Austin Peay at Alabama.
This is just chicken fodder here.
That'll be a 30-point game.
Alabama's minimum dominant.
Yeah. We got Kansas State has jumped back up into the top 15. They will go to West Virginia,
and they will knock West Virginia out of bowl eligibility.
Kansas State's favored by 7.5. I think that's a 10 plus. That's a 10 plus point.
Playing their way into the Big 12 title game.
Yeah, we got number 1 Georgia. What's Kentucky's reward for losing to Vanderbilt? Georgia. Jeez.
The world sometimes is cruel, and so is it for Kentucky.
Yeah, Georgia's favored by 22.5.
Can you think of a bigger disadvantage? Kentucky's offensive line versus that Georgia defensive line?
No, there may be 8-10 sacks in this game.
Do you want anyone out there can count how many sacks are going to be in this game?
I think there's going to be a lot. Georgia's favored by 22.5. That's a lot of points. But Kentucky may be falling apart now. There's a possibility. They either rally after that last game or they collapse. So
that
I
shows
don't know.
The team.
That shows what your coordinator is.
Yep.
Yeah, because Stoops is a fan. I love Stoops as a head coach. I think he's one of the best ones in the SEC. But
he just needs the coordinator.
He's going to have to bring in a better coordinator. Yeah. Got Ohio State at Maryland.
Maryland couldn't put up a point against Penn State. So
Maryland scored 0 points against Penn State.
Against Big Game James. What do you expect them to do against Ryan Day and the Buckeyes?
It's a 27.5 point line. I'll take it. We got Miami at number 9. Clemson favored by 19. Miami is not good.
Not good at all.
So I'll take Clemson. We got Penn State at a 4-6 Rutgers, another Big Ten powerhouse team there.
Rutgers is a perennial doo-doo pile every year.
Let's see. We got Maryland, Rutgers, Nebraska, Indiana,
How do you
Wisconsin. How many bad teams are in the Big Ten? Goodness gracious. Penn State's favored by 19. Yeah, I take that. I take that, yeah. We got Georgia Tech at number 13, North Carolina. North Carolina had jumped up. Georgia Tech's really bad, too. There were 4 wins, and North Carolina knocks them out of bowl contention.
Yep.
They take their 7th loss. Line's 21 on that one. North Carolina is, again, I think they're trying to prove they belong in the playoff talk.
And make this even more messy.
So I think it's going to be, I think they're going to take that 21 points there. We got number 14, Ole Miss, dropped down a little bit at Arkansas. Ole Miss is favored by 2.5. This is a tough one for me, but I don't think Ole Miss loses 2 in a row. Arkansas, I think, are imploding a little bit.
So I'll take the Rebels.
I'll probably take the Rebels on that one, too, yeah. We got number 7, USC. Yes, they have jumped up to 7. At UCLA.
This is a huge game.
This,
I think, make or break USC's season.
I don't know. I'm going to pick UCLA. I don't know why. I'm going to pick the Bruins. At home, coming off of a loss, UCLA had only had 1 loss going into last week. So they're not a bad team. So I don't think they lose 2 in a row. I think USC might be looking ahead to the Pac-12 championship, hoping for the playoffs.
And they also have Notre Dame, who's also coming up at number 18 next week.
That's what I'm thinking. I think this UCLA game's a trap game for them, and USC is only favored by 2.5. But I'll take UCLA plus 2.5 there. We got UAB in Blazers.
Oh, it's been so long since we've talked about them.
Do love the Blazers. I don't know why, but I love UAB.
They have a cool logo.
The Dragon, man.
They got that really cool logo. They have always. It's a childhood experiences with them that I love the Blazers.
Yeah, they used to come to the Tennessee games. We go to the Tennessee games and see them a lot. They're at LSU. LSU's favored by 14.5. I think that's going to
be
happen pretty easily. Yeah.
LSU's going to pretty much beat them much on the front and the back side.
And then last but not least, we got number 10, Utah at number 12, Oregon. I think Oregon's not going to lose 2 in a row.
This should be a battle for better big bowl situations right here.
This might be for the Rose Bowl. No, I think USC. No, I think this might be the battle for the Rose Bowl. I still think Oregon beats USC in the Pac-12 championship too, but that's down the road. But this is for the better bowl game. You're playing for the better bowl game right here. Oregon's favored by 3, and I think they win by those 3. Actually, probably by about 5. But that's it. That is college football for week 11 and week 12. Hope you had a little fun. I love this time of year. It is getting down to it now, people.
Yep, we've got
this playoff picture. The playoff picture, again, Georgia's number 1. Ohio State's number 2. Michigan is number 3. TCU is number 4. Tennessee is number 5.
LSU
is 6.
And USC is 7.
It is 7. So, and again, if USC wins out, I think they jump up to 4. If TCU wins out, I think they jump to 3. I think probably
winner of Ohio State Michigan is in.
Winner State of Ohio State Michigan will be number 2. So it's and North Carolina, do they creep up? Oh, I love this time of year. I
think Georgia's in no matter what.
I think Georgia's in no matter. What if a 2-loss LSU wins the SEC championship game? Somebody's going to get kicked out. You're not going to leave out LSU. So probably USC, even if they win the Pac-12,
probably get booted.
Probably gets booted out as TCU falls to 4. Man, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. And we're going to ask Rachel. We hope you have a little fun with us. Leave a little comment below. Let us know what you think about the playoffs or anything, any of the games coming up. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button.
Tell us if we're wrong down there if you need to.
Yeah, tell us who your favorite team is and that we're wrong. And then hit the Groovy Baby button over there too. See you next week.
See you next week.